Hello fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Monday the 25th of April 2022. Good morning and welcome to the channel if you are a beginner, because today is Monday and that means it's a beginner's day or easy level day. If you haven't really played the game much before, today's a good place to start. I shall tell you how we play this game, explain some basic techniques, and enough to get you started on your Sudoku career. When I say career, don't expect to make any money from it, but well, maybe you can. I don't know if people actually make money from it or not. I don't know. I hope it would be nice if they did. I have no idea if they do or not. Maybe start your own Sudoku channel on YouTube and become wildly popular. There we go. That might be a career path for you. I don't know how much money it will make you, but anyway, I'm glad it's an easy level for me today as well, because I haven't had much sleep last night. I woke up in the night, couldn't go back to sleep. I was about to sleep this morning, and suddenly I heard the screaming sounds of cats fighting, which was my cat, and outside, and I had to go and force him to come back in by chasing away the other cat. But fortunately, he wasn't injured. So he doesn't need to visit the vets, which makes a change, because normally he loses in fights. That's the worst thing, and cost me a fortune, apart from worry of him getting injured. Right. Congratulations to the people of France in keeping out Le Pen. I won't say congratulations in electing Macron, but anyway, congratulations in keeping out Le Pen. A good thing to do. Now, shall we get on with the game of Sudoku? By the way, if this channel has all kinds of comments about anything on life, and you two should, when I say should, are entirely welcome to add your comments in the comments section about anything you like, really. But particularly if you are less experienced and have questions about Sudoku, please don't be intimidated. Now, on a Monday, we don't get many comments usually, but sometimes you might see some videos on this channel, and the comments section is filled with experts saying what a terrible game I played or whatever, and that could be quite intimidating if you're still learning how to play the game. And don't really understand what they're talking about, or maybe even sometimes don't understand what's going on in these videos. So if there's something you don't understand because I explain it too quickly or go across it too quickly, don't be afraid. Put that comment in, and I'll be happy to answer your questions on Sudoku. Okay, right. So first of all, thing to understand is often referred to as the game of nines. And that's because there are exactly 9 squares in each of these rows across. And there are 9 squares in each of the columns down. And there are 9 squares in these small 3x3 outline sections, okay? Now what we do is we put something unique into each one of the squares. When I say unique, what I mean is, in this case, the easiest thing we do is to put the numbers 1 to 9. But don't worry if you're not good at mathematics, because it's not about maths. It's not a game of maths at all. A classic Sudoku is only about logic. As long as you can count to 9, that's enough maths. That's all the maths you need, actually, if you can count from 1 to 9 in any language. But you don't have to use numbers even. There is, in fact, a video on my channel called Sudoku where I played a game with food items instead of numbers. And I also have I think I have something else as well, like Roman numerals, which was very difficult to play. But anyway, but it doesn't need to be numbers. But we use numbers because it makes it easy to find the patterns. Okay, so don't worry about it if you're not good at maths. Now, because there are only 9 squares in each row and each column, then the numbers 1 to 9 can appear only one time, and this is how we find the answer. So, for example, look at this block down here. I call it a block. You might hear people call it a box or something else. Doesn't matter what you call it, really. But there's a 3x3 mini grid here, right? And you can see that we have some numbers already. We've got a 1, an 8, a 4, a 9, a 2, and a 5 already. And so we still need to get some numbers. Now, one of the numbers that we don't have yet is a 7. You can't find a 7 in these numbers that are printed already. But we're about to find a 7, because when we look at 7 like this, and I'm doing this on the computer so it's a bit easier to see. When I click on this 7, it actually highlights the other 7s, and so that's one easy way of finding numbers. Now this 7 appears in this column, and so means there can be no other 7s in this column. Up here we have a 3, an 8 and a 1. These numbers are already found in this column, and so we can't have a 7 again. So in particular, this square down here cannot be a 7, okay, because of this 7 and the way that it blocks down here like this. Now there's another 7 here, and you'll find that, look, the same thing applies down here. We can't have another 7. All right, 7 is blocked from both of these columns. So when we look down here, you'll see in this block here, this square and this square are forbidden from becoming a 7, and there is only one other empty square. Because there is only one other empty square, we know that the 7 must appear in that square. It cannot appear anywhere else. The game of Sudoku has only one solution, and if you find one possible location only, not more than one, but only one where the number can go, that's when you put the number in. But please try not to guess. And when I say try not to, I mean don't. Please don't guess. It's not a guessing game. The whole game, object of the game is use logic to find the answer, okay? And if your logic is not that good, don't worry. It will get better and improve the more you play, okay? Now, we have 2 empty squares in this block. We have most of the numbers, but what we don't have yet is 3 and 6. We've got everything else. 1, 2, there's no 3. 4, 5, there's no 6. 7, 8, 9. See what I mean? Right, so what we're looking for is a 2 or a 3 to fit into these 2 squares. Now, in fact, we can actually find, a 3 or a 6. Sorry, a 3 or a 6 to fit into these one of these squares. Now, actually, there's a 3 up here. Now, remember, blocks down this column. So once we block this square with this 3, we know that the 3 can only go here. And now there is only one number left for this block. So we know that 6 has to fit there. Okay, got it? So that's the basic premise of how we play the game of Sudoku. All we have to do now is extend that idea around the grid until we complete it, like a regular jigsaw filling in each piece. Now, I don't play these games ahead of time, ever, even the expert level games, and so sometimes they take me a long time to play, and sometimes they're over pretty quickly. But I do have to look for the numbers as well. So when I'm talking to you, I'm usually kind of searching around looking for some possibilities as well. Sometimes I find them quickly, sometimes I don't. I have found the next number now. Now, in this block here, we don't yet have a 1. We're looking for a digit 1. Now, you can see there are 6 empty squares in this block, 6 possibilities. So I want you to look for any surrounding ones and see where they might go. In fact, I'll help you by clicking on the 1, and there you can see now they're highlighted, and that should make it a bit easier for you to see. Now, if you use your eyes and kind of an imaginary ruler and see how they go along the rows and columns, I think you'll find where our 1 can go. So now we did columns already, so we know that this 1 blocks up here, right? So we know that these 2 squares can't be 1 because of this 1 here. Now, this time we're going to look at the row. Same rule applies. No other square in this row can be a 1. Same here because of, because of this 1 here. So we've got 1 in this row and a 1 in this row, forbidding all other squares from becoming a 1. Let's do that, make it easier to see. 1 blocking here, 1 blocking across here like this. So in fact, our 1 has to fit in that square because that's the only square that's left. Once we find the only square that's left, we know that's where it goes. Right, let's try and find some more. I'm taking my time today, not on purpose, I just haven't seen anything yet. Here we go. Right, now, this row here has 3 empty squares, so we need to work out what the 3 missing numbers are, okay? So we've got a 1, we don't have a 2, we don't have a 3, we've got 4, and we don't have a 5. I made a mistake. Excuse me. Forget that idea. I thought I'd seen something. There, proof that I don't play these games ahead of time. I thought I'd seen something, but I was actually mistaken. I did not see what I thought I had seen. Now, about mistakes in Sudoku, you are going to find them, that you make mistakes all the time, right? Especially when you begin. And don't worry about it. If you make a mistake, and you just see it immediately, you can usually correct it. But if you don't see it and you've made several changes, then I would give up the Sudoku, go back to the beginning, rub it all out. If you're playing with a pencil, or if you're on a computer, just erase all of the numbers you put in and start again, because it's very difficult once you've made a mistake and made a few moves to try to undo that mistake, usually. Now, I'm going to ask you to find digit 4 in this top right-hand block here. Can you find digit 4? I mean, not in here, because of course it's not here yet, but I mean find where it should go. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? I'm not making myself clear here. Right, okay, now in case you missed it, I'll highlight the digits for you. That should make it a little bit easier. Right, I think you're there now. So then we have the 4 blocking up here, the 4 blocking up here, and the 4 across here. So we know that 4 must go in that square because it's the only place it can go. This game is slightly harder than the normal game, I must say, for a Monday. Normally I would have finished by now, but maybe that's good because it's making me think a bit harder about what I tell you about and what I don't tell you about. Okay, next up, have a look for 7 in this block. Okay, once again, I'll highlight it. Good, I think you've seen it already, haven't you? So 7s go up here and across here like that, so we can place our 7 in that square there. Okay, this row does not yet have digit 1. Now, if you look carefully, you will find intersecting ones in various places, and hopefully, if you look for long enough, you'll find only 1 empty square. Remember, we're looking at this row here. Okay, so I think you've probably seen it by now. Look, this one blocks this square, this one blocks this square, this one blocks this square, and this one blocks this square. So now we only have 1 empty square in that row, so we know that the 1 must fit there. Really, for a beginner puzzle, this one is, I would say, much harder than they normally have on a Monday. They call it easy level puzzle. I call it beginner because it usually is really a beginner puzzle. And on Tuesday, they start with what they call medium, which is really an easy level game. So don't forget to come back tomorrow if you're here for your first ever Sudoku today. Come back tomorrow because tomorrow's game should also be a fairly straightforward game. Wow, this is really taking quite a lot of thinking about, to be honest with you. Okay, so what I usually do when I get to this point and say, well, I can't see anything really easy. There probably is, but I just don't notice it. I haven't noticed it. I'll click on each number in turn, because that will highlight the numbers and that will give me an idea to think about where the numbers can go. For example, I've found the next number, actually, because now I can see if I highlight this one here and say that it blocks across this row, and highlight this one here and see that it blocks down here, well, then I understand that one has to fit there. And now I'm going to highlight that one and say blocking up there, and this one blocking up here, and the number goes here, and then this one blocking across here, and this one blocking up here and blocking up here, and so the one fits there. And now one we have in every one of these small mini grids. Okay, so one is now complete. We don't have to look for any more digit ones. We can forget them now. They are unimportant because they are all done. But we've still got 8 other numbers to think about, so still lots to do, right? Can't relax just yet. When I say relax, of course, you should be reasonably relaxed. It's not supposed to be a game that will give you great tension. It's just a game for fun. Okay, now can you see a digit 4 in this block here? Should be fairly simple to find even without me highlighting. Got it? Okay, good. Well done. Yes, we have 4 blocking across here, 4 blocking across here. So that's our 4 now. Look for a 4 in this block here. I'll highlight the digits, and now you should notice that there are 3 intersecting 4s, making it easy to find. Okay, so we've got intersecting 4 blocking here, an intersecting 4 here, and an intersecting 4 here. So just that square available to us for a 4. We can see when we highlight 2s, we can see 2 blocking down here and 2 blocking up here. So we know that's a 2 there. You know, normally when we see 2 empty squares in a row like this, we examine and find out what they are. In this case, they are 3 and 5, but we don't have any information that can help us to say which is which. We know they must contain either 3 or 5. If this is 3, this will be 5. If this is 3, this will be 5. But we don't know which is which just yet, so we have to leave them blank, and we'll come back to that at a later time. And this either or thing is something you have to get used to as well. It's great if you're a computer programmer. It has that choice, even if you're not, though. If you've ever used a flow chart, you know, with a decision box, well, now you know what it is. It's like if this, if not, then go in that direction. Okay, if it's not this, it must be something else. They have really, you know, actually the last week the Guardians puzzles were really easy. Even like the expert level game and everything was not difficult, but they seem to have made today's easy level much more difficult than they normally do. I'm not worried that I can't complete it or anything, but I'm just saying that it is more difficult than usual. Okay, now here's an interesting thing. This column here, let me start on an empty block like this because that'll make it easier to see. This column here does not yet have a 3, right? You don't see a 3 in the numbers that we've already been given. But you do see a 3 in this block. Now remember, the number can only appear once in its row, column, or block. So because this 3 blocks everything else in this block, so these two squares cannot be 3 because this 3 is in this block. And so when we look down at this column here, look down lower, we find there's only 1 square left. So we know that the 3 has to fit there, like so. Now, the next thing, now, if you think about this, now here's something nice to think about, logic. There are 7 numbers in this column and only 2 empty squares, and these squares are in the same block, so we can find out what these 2 missing numbers are, right? Because all we have to do is look through these and find what's missing. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have 5, 6, 7. We don't have 8. So we know that these 2 squares must be 5 or 8. Now actually we have an intersecting 8, but I'll get onto that in a minute. I don't want to talk about that. So 5 and 8 are in these squares here. Now if we know that these 2 squares contain 5 and 8, we can also get this one, because we can work it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so the last square here will have to be 9. Now actually we have a blocking 8 here, so we can put the 8 here and we can put the 5 there. But even if we hadn't had this intersecting 8, we could have got this 9. Okay, and that's the kind of thing to look out for. These patterns are what makes Sudoku such a great game to play. Fun game. Right, now here's another typical Sudoku trick. There are 3 empty squares in this column, and again we're going to work out what the missing numbers are. So we got 1, there's no 2, 3, 4, there's no 5, so that's 1, sorry, that's 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's no 9. So if you remember, the missing numbers to go in these 3 squares have to be 2, 5, and 9. Now this is in a column. When we examine the rows, ding, 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 yeah, we hit the jackpot, because look, here we have a 2 and a 5, 2 of our missing numbers in the same row. So if you think about the logic, if this square cannot be 2, right, and cannot be 5, well then we know it has to be the 3rd missing number for this column, so we know it's a 9 and we can place it now. Okay, what else do we need? We need to examine. You need to kind of make sure that you don't get stuck in just one region of the grid. You need to keep your eyes moving around to different locations. Okay, so we have an 8 blocking across here and an 8 blocking down here. So this has to be an 8 to fit there. Now we have 2 missing numbers here. The missing numbers are 5 and 6, but actually we still can't get which is which, because when we check our rows there are no intersecting 5s or 6s, and when we check our columns the same, no 5s or 6s, so we still don't know which is which. So we have to leave that and be satisfied that we will get it later on. Okay. Like I said, they're making this game rather tougher than they normally do. Now I'm going to show. Oh, yeah, I'm going to show you a Sudoku trick now, which is. Okay, I'll show you the trick first, and then I'll show you another way of working out the same thing, because I want to show you this little trick. Now, I hope this is okay for beginners. When we look at the 8 blocking across here and the 8 blocking across here, right, we will find the 8 limited to these 2 squares. Now we can't place where it goes just yet, okay? And when we look down here, we see the 8 here and here. Well, this 8 will block across this column, right? And this 8 will block a row, sorry, and this 8 will block across this row. And so the 8s will be here or here, like this. Got that? So in this block, because of this 8 and this 8 blocking across, our 8s will appear in one of these 2 squares. And down here, our 8s will appear in one of these 2 squares. Now we can think of 3 blocks together like this block, and this block. We call it a chute. That's C-H-U-T-E. And that's a vertical chute, but we also think about horizontal chutes. This block, and this block. So 3 blocks in a row we call a chute. And they have a relationship. Okay, so now what we can understand is that if our 8s are limited to the middle column here and the right column here in these 2 blocks, well, the 3rd block in the chute, whether it's above or below, must have the 8 in the left-hand column, because up here or down here, we don't have a possible 8 in the left-hand column, so we know that 8 must appear. Now, actually, we've got an intersecting 8 here and another one here, so we know that these can't be true, so we know that our 8 will be in this square. Okay, now, actually, that's a pattern that you can use, which works in this case, but actually there was an easier thing, maybe easier thing to see, but that will work. The 3 blocks in a chute is something to watch out for all the time, but you could have done this 8 blocks here, 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 and 8 blocks here. If you can see it like that, well, that's okay too. Whichever way, it's the same thing. So 8 has to fit in that square there. Now we have 4 blocking across this row and across this row, so it must fit there. Then we have 4 blocking up here, and across here. So our 4 fits into that square. 4 is now complete, so both 1 and 4 are digits we don't have to think about anymore. Let's deselect them, otherwise it gets a bit confusing. Where's the next thing to find, I wonder? Now I'm going to examine these 3 missing numbers. I don't know if we are going to find anything, but that's part of the game of Sudoku, is looking for and sometimes not finding, sometimes finding, sometimes not finding, but you have to keep searching, you have to keep looking. Okay, so the missing numbers here are 3, 6, and 7. 3, 6, and 7. Well, I've got 1 intersecting 6 and 1 intersecting 7 and no intersecting 3, so it wasn't much use for me, except that I know that 3, 6, and 7 are here. But it might kind of let you see that actually if none of these could be 9, right, then we have 9 blocking across here and 9 blocking up here. In fact, we can do it like this: 9 blocking across like this, 9 blocking across, and 9 up here. So sometimes when you're looking for one pattern, you see something else. It just makes it easier to find, you know. So I found a 9 there. I still can't believe how kind of relatively difficult they've made today's game compared with what they usually do. It's quite a surprise. I'm taken by surprise. I don't think it's because I'm being particularly thick because it's Monday morning. It's not that. I actually am pretty convinced that it is more difficult than it usually is. So like I said, if I get stuck, it's often a good idea to highlight the digits, because if you're playing on the computer, you may as well take advantage of the tools at your disposal, which I have here, obviously. So, okay, well, I didn't get much help looking at that. Nor there. And remember, 1 and 4 are already done, so I don't need to check 1 or 4. Ah, here we go. So this 5 then blocks up this column here. So look, in this block up here, Now you can see there's only one space for a 5, and that's why it's good to highlight, because it just makes it easier to see. There's 6 blocks this square here. That puts a 6 there. Now there's only one number missing here and one number missing here. It doesn't matter which way we do it. It's actually going to be the same number. It's going to be a 2, and that's going to be a 2 as well. And you'll learn more about when numbers are going to be the same number as you play the game, just from your own experience, the way that you play it. Now let's find a 2 here, shall we? Your turn again. Can you find me a 2 in this block? I'll highlight the numbers for you just to make it easier. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Okay, 2 blocks across here and 2 blocks down here. So that is our 2. Now we can say 2 blocking up here, giving us just this square here for a 2. Now we've got 2s in every block except one. Only this block is lacking a 2. Now, it's a golden rule in Sudoku that if you have just one block that is lacking a digit, you can find it for sure. So I know that I can find the 2 in this block here because I've got 8 other 2s already. So let's go ahead. 2 blocking up here, 2 blocking down here, 2 blocking across here. There we go. 2s are now finished. Now, there's just one number to get in this row, and if you count through, you're going to find it's a 5. I'll save you a bit of time by counting for you. And this 5 blocks all the way across here. We still need a 5 in this block here. So we'll put our 5 in. This will be a 3, okay, to finish this block. So that's what we need. 3 blocks across here and 3 blocks up here. So now we can put our 3 here. 3 blocks across here and 3 blocks down here. So this will be a 3. Okay. We have just one number missing from this column, so let's see what it is. The missing number is 6. So let's put that in, if I can find the right key on the keyboard. And now we only have one number missing for this block, and the missing number is 9. Let's fill that in. Then we can say 9 blocking across here, 9 blocking down here. So that will be a 9, and there's only one number to get across here now. The missing number is a 5. Now there's only one number missing either for this block or for this row. Doesn't matter, it will be the same number because there is only one solution to Sudoku. So the missing number is 6. 6 stops this square here from being a 6, so we know 6 goes here. And the last number for this block is 5. Now we can say 5 blocking across here and down here. This will be our 5, and let's go back in the opposite direction, meaning going up the grid. 5 blocking up here and 5 across here, so that will be our 5 there. There's one number missing in this row now. The missing number is an 8. Let's fill that in. Now let's say 8 blocking down here, 8 blocking down here. You see how I'm taking the digit that I just filled in and letting me find the next iteration of that number with it. This is an 8 here. One number missing from this row. The missing number is a 6. Ooh, excuse me, I had the wrong button selected on the computer software. The missing number up here is, for this column I mean, is a 3. Okay, 3 blocks down here, so this will be a 3. Missing number here is a 7. 7 blocking up here, so that will be a 7. And to finish today's easy level or beginner grid, a 6 will do it. Okay, now actually I took a long time to solve that. It doesn't take a long time to solve these puzzles really, but I just wanted to explain the basics with you, go through the idea with you. Now, as I said at the beginning, if you have questions, please ask in the comments section. If you're not sure how to play Sudoku, is still something don't really understand, just ask me and I'll be glad to point it out to you. Okay, that's it. Come back. Subscribe to the channel, would you? Thank you. And come back tomorrow, or check on the easy level games. There's lots of them on this channel, and I hope to see you tomorrow for tomorrow's medium level. But remember, Tuesday's Guardian is really an easy one as well. Thank you. Bye bye.